all the men to cheat, you picked John Kramer?
The cancer is still spreading. I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do. There is one person who might be able to help.
Our program is a two-pronged treatment outside Mexico City. The results have been stunning.
She saved my life.
You're in very good hands with us.
After that, what happens then?
Your whole life happens then. John Kramer.
According to these scans, the tumor was never removed.
How much time do I have?
Months, at best.
I still have a lot of work that needs to be done. Hello, everyone. It's time to play a game. You all pretended to cure me, but what I have planned for each of you is very real.
Peace came upon me. No light, no sound.
The only thing I have not provided is your anesthetic. But trust me, you will want to remain alert. Out of all the men to cheat, you picked John Kramer? Please, don't hesitate. Place a big enough piece of your cerebral tissue into the glass enzyme tank. This will save your life.
So sweet, silent
This is not retribution. It's a reawakening. Live or die. The choice is yours.
Right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Benner from Black Fawn Distro, and I'm just jumping in here because this is a quick review. Unfortunately, Kels McNells couldn't make this one, but I wanted to jump on just to do a quick review of Saw X, and it's one of the most anticipated horror films of the year, and of course, one of our favorite characters, one of our favorite villains, an iconic villain, Jigsaw, John Kramer, is back, and I want to get into that a little bit and talk to you guys about what I thought. So this is going to be a non-spoiler review, and big shout out to my buddy Shane at I Crave Movies. He called me up. He said he couldn't make this press screening on Tuesday. So I said, hey, listen, I love the Saw movies. I'll jump in. I'll take one for the team. I'll take the bullet. Let me go to the screening and I'll do a quick review afterwards. So listen, like I said, non-spoiler review. So you don't have to turn this off, but I'm going to say just a few words, and we'll keep this pretty short today, but I love this movie. This movie to me is everything a Saw movie should be. And I'll preface that by saying, listen, if you're not a fan of the Saw movies, and that's understandable, I get it for sure. But if you don't like the Saw movies, you're not going to like this movie. Okay. So this is Saw X, Saw 10, the 10th movie in the series. So guess what? If you know anything about the series, don't go to this one expecting to see anything remotely different than what you've seen before. However, I will say this, the care that's being put into this film as far as a sequel and treating sort of like a legacy character with some real care is awesome. And obviously Tobin Bell coming back as Jigsaw is awesome. Back as John Kramer obviously is a real treat to see. And you know what, he's such a great actor, and it really plays, this film really does play to his strengths. And there's lots of let me put it this way. I really, really did love the first Saw movie when I saw it in the theater. I saw the second one, the third one, and I think the fourth one. And then I started watching them at home. It just got a little too kind of crazy by the end. And full disclosure, I've never seen Spiral. I will probably end up watching it for something that we have coming up on our Takeover Tuesday Hot Stove from Hell discussion, because I think we might do Saw. But we're not sure how many Saw movies we're going to do because it's a lot to get through. But I will say this. I did get a little bit, I just got a little bit kind of bored by the end of the series. Like once it got to Saw 3D or Saw 7 or the final chapter or whatever you want to call it, Jigsaw I wasn't a huge fan of. So I just kind of lost interest in the series. And I think a lot of horror fans will say, there's a lot of horror series that sort of they run their course, and then the later sequels in the sort of get a little bit ridiculous, a little bit silly, and they don't really kind of they stray too far away from what made a franchise good to begin with. I'm pleased to say that Saw X it returns this series back to its form. It's very, very much in the same vein as the first three movies, and I would say it kind of pulls in the fourth movie as well in sort of a nice way. So I really do feel this movie is worth checking out if you are a fan of the series. And I will say the eyeball trap, obviously that's all over the internet. That's on the poster, is one of the coolest traps that is in the entire series as well. And there are a few things throughout the plot that, I'm always like with any Saw movie, I'm always like, how much time did this take to set up? So I am always like sort of thinking about that in the back of my mind, but that's not what these movies are about. And they are, they do wrap in an this iconic villain, who has this sort of like moral ambiguity to him, and which is just interesting to process. It's interesting to dig through and sort of like dig under the surface. And Saw X, so just a tiny little, just I don't want to even say this isn't really a spoiler, but it does take place in the timeline between Saw 1 and Saw 2. So that just kind of gives you an idea as to kind of where this movie kind of fits. But as the trailer, I mean, fantastic trailer, fantastic marketing, really bringing this franchise back to its roots, which is awesome. And so many other films, so many other studios have tried to do this with IPs that might be considered outdated. How do we make money off them? How do we put them back in theaters? How do we put, how do we get people watching these films again and get excited about them? And this movie really hits all those notes. It's not my favorite Saw movie. I still think that's 3 personally. But it's close and it's in there, and it really feels like it's, it gives you a reason to kind of go back and check out Saw 1, 2, 3, and 4, and maybe all of them actually, if you want to get into it. But again, Tobin Bell, of course, I'd be, remiss if I didn't mention also the return of Shawnee Smith as Amanda. Her presence here is really, really cool. And they've really, you can tell here that the filmmakers have gone back through all of the movies to find not necessarily Easter eggs, and there's not really a lot of winking and nudging at the audience. It's just done in a very sort of, I use this term loosely, but tasteful way, where they're saying, hey, remember this thing from one of the other sequels. Hey, remember this thing from the original movie. Hey, remember this thing from whatever other sequel that it ties to. It's not done in a cheesy way. It's not done in a way that's just supposed to be fan service. It's done in a way that builds out character. This movie is just shy of 2 hours. So, I went to the press screening and everyone kind of looked around and said, wow, 2 hours of Saw. That's pretty crazy, right? So, but I can tell you that they spend that time lingering on, in a good way, on certain aspects of character development and some backstory on John Kramer, which is really, really cool. It sort of answers some questions that maybe they didn't put enough time or enough attention to in the series in the past, about maybe what his motivations were or how he became, because again, like Jigsaw does kind of become more and more sadistic as the films go on, but this kind of answers some of those long sort of lingering questions that people might have had watching the series from front to back. So anyway, listen, I'm not going to ramble on too much about it, but if you are a Saw fan, if you like scary movies, if you like, it's not for the faint of heart. It's a violent movie. There's buckets and buckets and buckets of blood. But listen, if you want to check out a movie and you really like the franchise, I would say go and see this. And they've done such a great job of the marketing, of course, using the Holly song in the trailer that I just played at the top. Just fantastic stuff, and just really plays into this. And I'll say this too. This is a serious movie. It's not, I don't take it seriously, but it does have some gravitas to it, and it does have some weight to it. And that's a very, very interesting place to take this character and to take this film franchise. So I don't know if there'll be another sequel. There's some rumblings that depending on the success of this one, obviously, maybe they'll look at doing another one. I don't know if that sequel might take place in between Saw 2 and 3. Who knows? But I think they've done a great job of just balancing everything that they have at their disposal in this film without it seeming like a cash grab, without it seeming like it's something to that it's just a studio trying to cash in and make another buck off a fan base out there. This doesn't feel like content, right? It feels like a film that is respectful of the past and all the other movies that came before it. Even the sequels that you might not like, it doesn't dismiss them. So this isn't something that just they say, okay, well, this is maybe this is Saw 2 and none of the other sequels have any meaning or and they don't matter. That's something that a lot of series now, these rebootquels, have done. And I'm not a huge fan of it because I just feel like you have to you do have to honor all of those other filmmakers that have made sequels, good or bad. You have to admire those efforts, and I don't think you can just get rid of them. So if you're going to do a full reboot, sure, great, no problem. I mean, those happen for sure, but I think with this film, it's kind of set a new bar and a new precedent for how horror franchises can maybe revitalize their characters, revitalize their IP without kind of throwing away everything that's come before it, or most of what's come before it. So, hey, kudos to everyone involved in this film. If you like horror movies, if you like Saw movies, go and see Saw X. It's awesome. And like I said, we are going to do a Hot Stove from Hell coming up on the Saw franchise. We just don't know how many films we're going to review, but we'll post a poll probably on our Instagram. Keep an eye out for that, and we'll see what we can do. But again, Saw X in theaters now. Go and see it this weekend. Help support horror films, and let's make this film another top-ranking box office performer in 2023. So that's all for me. Again, I'm Benner from Black Fawn Distro, and of course, my co-host, my partner in crime, Kels McNells, couldn't make this one, but she will be back on the Hot Stove, as well as our next episode of 90s Night coming up soon. And before I go, let's just play the trailer one more time. Saw X in theaters now. Go check it out.
Out of all the men to cheat, you picked John Kramer?
The cancer is still spreading. I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do. There is one person who might be able to help.
Our program is a two-pronged treatment outside Mexico City. The results have been stunning.
She saved my life.
If I could make a wish,
You're in very good hands with us.
I think I can.
After that, what happens then?
Your whole life happens then. John Kramer.
According to these scans, the tumor was never removed.
How much time do I have?
Months, at best.
I still have a lot of work that needs to be done. Hello, everyone. It's time to play a game. You all pretended to cure me, but what I have planned for each of you is very real.
Peace came upon me. No light, no sound.
The only thing I have not provided is your anesthetic. But trust me, you will want to remain alert.
All I need is the air that I breathe.
all the men that cheat, you pick John Kramer?
Please, don't hesitate.
Place a big enough piece of your cerebral tissue into the glass enzyme tank. This will save your life.
So sweet, silent
This is not retribution. It's a reawakening. Live or die. The choice is yours.